Clay Carlino, and welcome to Retrobot. Today we're looking at a character that I never saw in stores when I was a kid, but I kind of wanted to. But he has made his way back around like many of the original Generation 1 Transformers characters. We're looking at Apeface. And we've got two versions to look at. We've got the Titan Returns version right here, and then we've got the Transformers War for Cybertron Siege version right here, which kind of strikes me as a little odd that we are seeing him one right after the other, and yeah, that's just kind of weird. But nonetheless, we're going to take a look, and I'm going to show off all of his different modes and let you know the goods, the bads, and the apish. I don't know if that's good or bad. So, without any further ado, let's take a look at these guys. So, we've got the Titan Masters version first, and he turns into a little spaceship, and then you've got the actual Titan Master character right here. And I guess the idea with these guys is that you could transform them into a head, which, you know, he looks like a good ape face head, and then he would be able to take over other Titan Masters' bodies. As a Gen 1 guy, the idea of these guys just taking over bodies is a little bit odd to me. I'm used to the idea that they are binary bonded to one body and one body alone, but I guess times do change. So we've got that little guy, which I guess in this incarnation, that's Apeface. In the original Gen 1 version, the binary bonded partner was Spasma, but not in Titan Returns. And then we've got this little thing, which actually turns into a little ape, which he looks like Apeface, and that's pretty cool. And also you can have the Titan Master. He pegs into the back here, and now the monkey can have a human on his shoulder. How's that for irony? So, yeah, that's kind of a cool thing. He also has a third mode, which is a gun mode. So essentially you're going to turn it back into a jet, which is just flipping the nose cone around. And then we're going to stick the Titan Master guy in here like that. Put the arms forward, and you pull down the handle of the gun, and now it's sort of a gun. It's kind of a front-heavy gun, as many of these guns are. And we're just going to turn it back into a jet because, honestly, it looks a lot better as a jet. So, yeah, he's got a serviceable ape mode, a serviceable jet mode, and we'll just forget about the gun. Moving on, we've got Transformers War for Cybertron Siege Apeface. And I've got mixed feelings about this toy. There's some things that are really, really cool, and some things that are not so cool. For starters, you can see this is the spaceship mode, the jet mode, whatever you want to call it. And right away, it's got problems. For one thing, it is really just a big, fat, folded up robot that's in the shape of a box, and then it's got wings on it. And I realized that a lot of this has to do with hearkening back to the original Gen 1 toy, but I really don't like the fact that you've got this nice purple here, this magenta color here, and then this dull off-white in the middle. It doesn't work. Like, if these were this color purple, then at least you would visually see jet here that starts at the nose cone and then winds at the body of the vehicle, and you could sort of at least optically ignore these parts. But with the way that it is now, you just can't ignore it. So I've done some kit bashing on this. I added a couple 5mm posts to either side, just so that I could add parts from other Titan Masters and do some combination things with the parts formers. And I added a hole right here. And the reason I added the hole was so that I could do this. So I'm going to take off this part, which always requires some finessing. There we go. So we take that off. And now I can put that in here. And that serves two purposes. For one thing, it bridges the gap between the colorful nose cone and the colorful wings. The other thing it does is it enables me to open the cockpit and access our little Titan Master guy. With this in place, you can't open this, so he is sealed in there forever, or at least until you transform the guy. So that's something that I did. Although another benefit of having that hole is that I can also take the Titan Master Apeface and I can dock him right up here. And so now he's got a ship on him. But nonetheless, this is the ship mode. It's a box with wings and a nose cone. Of all the modes, this is the weakest. Now, let's go ahead and let's put him into Ape Mode. Ape Mode is interesting. We're gonna do this. So, of course, the first thing that you have to do is you have to take this big tail piece off. So just like that. And because it's nested down in there, you can't just twist it to loosen it. You have to kind of jiggle it for a long time to work it free slowly. So we're going to set that aside. I'm also going to take the gun out from the 5mm hole here. There are a lot of places to put weapons on this, by the way. There is a hole right here, which is the hole that this thing used, but if this piece is not in place, or if you lose it, then you can stick the gun there. And since there's only one gun, I like them to be centrally located. I hate when you have to do something like that, and it's just got a gun on one side. It ruins the symmetry. He's also got 5mm holes on the sides here, so you can stick the gun there, or stick the gun there. And if there were two guns, that would be pretty cool, but there's only one. So, once again, no visual balance. Don't like it. We've got the vehicle mode right here, and we're going to turn it into a gorilla. The gorilla legs, not really hidden. They just flip down from the bottom like that. And then you've got these wings. Now, these wings have to elevate in order to pivot. So just like that other piece, you kind of wiggle them and work them up. And then we're going to put them up against what's going to be the shoulders of the gorilla. And then we're going to do that with this one. And now we need to expose the gorilla head, which is inside the nose cone here. And with this, what they've done is they've put the bottom half of the gorilla head here, and then the Titan Master character, which is inside the cockpit right here, which, of course, can't open because the wings are in the way, so I'm going to move the wings out. Now open the cockpit, take out the Titan Master guy, and move this back in. And then we'll put that down. And now we can free the arms of the gorilla, which fold out like this. And he's kind of a knuckle dragger gorilla. You don't get a ton of articulation. He does have some good articulation, but like, if these were ball joints, then you could have the elbow rotate around, and that would add a lot. I like that the shoulders are on ball joints, so you can get a lot of motion out of that. The hands are in a permanent knuckle dragger position. And so you've got those, but we do need to get the head into position. So you see this part, it's got a double hinge with a hinge point here and here. It's also got this little thing, this little nook right there. That nook is going to snap around this hinge here. So you're gonna snap that down like that. There you go. And then the rest of it seats into this position. I'm going to take our Titan Master dude, which I guess this is Spasma, and we're going to fold him over to turn him into a head. And Spasma makes both the gorilla head and the robot head, but the gorilla head doesn't really look like a gorilla head until you put it down into here. And then it looks a little bit more like a gorilla head. I guess like a gorilla wearing a welding helmet. Maybe it looks more like a guy wearing a helmet that is made to look sort of gorilla-y. But nonetheless, he's got an ape face, and his name is Apeface, so he's Apeface. And that is the gorilla mode. We can put the gun on the back, which is fine. You can also put the gun on the shoulder, but since he's in kind of a permanent stoop, the gun would be shooting the ground. So you can also put the gun on the legs, and there are two of these 5mm points. They're a little bit loose, so you might have to do a little bit of finessing to get it to stick, but you can also put it into the little hole in the back here. And then you've got this thing, which, you know, you can put it, you can put this on the back here, like that. You can have it anywhere where there's a 5mm plug. It doesn't really integrate with the ape design very well. A lot of times I'll just put it on his back like that so that it kind of looks like he's an ape wearing a jetpack, and then I will take the gun and stick it on the wing right there, just like that. So let's put him on the other camera. You can take a closer look. And that is Apeface in his ape mode. And I have to say, the ape mode looks really good. You know, even with my criticism of some of the joints and everything, it is a perfectly serviceable ape mode. I feel like I'm a little bit spoiled because of Optimus Primal. It seemed like every Optimus Primal ape toy was really well articulated and looked really, really good. And obviously, most of the versions of Optimus Primal did not have a jet mode, but I feel like he's an okay gorilla. He's a better gorilla than he is a jet, I will say that. But I wish that it were more articulated. I wish I could spread the legs out here. I wish that these were on ball joints so that I could do crazy things with the arms. I like that the head can move around in a lot of different positions. But yeah, that's his ape mode, and overall looks good. Now, that being said, this is a Transformers War for Cybertron Siege toy. And as part of the Siege series, we get some intricate detail along the pieces. And you can't see it well on this kind of muted plastic, this almost non-tinted plastic, which, again, I'm not a fan of the color, but the molding is very, very nice. The details are very nice. I like the Siege chipped paint look. That's cool, and that's something that we haven't seen done in any of the previous Transformers series, which is saying a lot because they've been around for, what, 33 years? So, yeah, that's pretty impressive. Nonetheless, that is Apeface in his Ape Mode. And so, let's go ahead and let's go to Robot Mode. And now the Ape Mode is pretty cool. And you probably want him to be in Ape Mode an awful lot because, I mean, that's the mode that's going to kick the ass out of any Autobots in the area, and if they happen to rip off his arm, he is going to beat them with it. That is from the Marvel Comics. Who remembers that? I remember that. So, So, to start off the transformation, I'm going to pull Spasma out. I am going to pull this part off. I'm going to pull off the gun. And now, let's get to the robot mode. So, we're going to start by folding the Ape Arms back up. Just like that. Fold in the wrist, fold up the forearm, and now his arms are just a box. Which, I think that's one of my criticisms of this toy, is that a lot of it is just making the extraneous pieces into boxes and sort of tucking them mostly out of the way, but not really. His head, we pull it up, and we just tuck it into the nose cone here so that it's out of the way. The ape feet, we are going to bend those back and just pivot them back so that, once again, they're just kind of out of the way. Yeah, they don't really become parts. All of his extraneous mode parts just kind of go out of the way when you're going into one of the other modes. You know, his nose cone doesn't become the chest or an arm or something like that. It just folds out of the way. The head just folds out of the way into the nose cone. Now, you do have the legs of the ape making up the chest here, but the arms of the robot are just right here. They don't really become part of the leg. They're just folded up out of the way. And that's my biggest criticism of this design, is that he doesn't so much transform as his parts just go out of the way until they're needed. A lot of that does kind of harken back to that Gen 1 origin. He is very Gen 1-y, and overall it's still a good toy, but I'm not super impressed. There are some Transformers that you see and it's like, wow, how did they pull that off? He's not one that there's any mysteries. It's obvious how they pulled everything off. So, we've got the arm. We're going to flip out the wrist. We've got the other arm right here. It's got a double hinge. And we flip out the wrist. The legs transform more than any other part of this robot. So, we're going to pull the legs out, and it's hard to see here. So the legs are on this double joint. You see this piece right here. So they're going to transform like that, very much like a Combiner Wars character. Like many of the limb characters had this kind of a mechanism in their legs. I'm going to show you again on this side. It's going to fold down and then up like that. And then we need to position this joint so that the legs can lock in and create the knee joint. So that's like that. And now the backs are going to close like that. It's just like a little door. And we've got the ape arms, which make up the back of the leg. So in this case, the ape arms actually do kind of integrate into the design of the robot. I mean, they're not hidden all that well. It's not a smooth joint. You can very clearly see that that's two segmented pieces, but at least it fleshes up the bulk of this lower leg nicely. And we flip down the feet, there, and there. And now we have a robot, and then we pop the head on, just like that. And then you can take this piece and stick it on his arm, and you can also give him a gun. And again, you've got a lot of different 5mm holes where you can put weapons. So you can take the gun off here and put it on there. Again, it's kind of loosey-goosey. It just kind of falls. This one's a little bit better. You've got plenty of holes in the back where you can put the gun, or you could put this fin thing, and that is the robot mode. So let's go ahead and take a look at the robot mode. And I'll put the gun back in his hand here. I need to rotate these up, and you can see there's a little rectangular hole here and a little rectangular post right there. You line those up and they just sort of tab into each other. And we'll do that. So that is the robot mode. And he looks good. So the robot mode is kind of the shining star of this guy. He really looks good. I love the details molded into the plastic, which is one of the strengths of the Siege line. I love the scuffed paint detail that they've created by adding these silver accents. That's unique, and it's very characteristic of the war-torn nature of the characters at this point in the Transformers story. Look around to the back. His wings look good up against his back. The ape face doesn't look too much like a robot staring out the back, and so that's kind of nice. If it had individual eyes, then it would look like he was watching you when he was walking away, which would be kind of creepy. So you can see that I have done a little bit of kit bashing. I have added a port here with a 5mm hole, and I'll show you why I did that. Because this piece kind of bugs me. I want to do something more with it. And so I added that hole so that I could add the piece right here. And you can still have the Decepticon symbol. And then I like to rotate it around so that he's got his ape face going. And this is, in my headcanon, that is his armored robot mode. Sort of a hybrid between his ape mode and his robot mode. I just kind of like it, so that's what I did. But normally the toy can't do that, so we will just turn him back into normal ape face. And then we will also give him a somewhat unconvincing gun. There we go. It's Ape Face holding Ape Face. That's right, Ape Face. It looks like you don't have enough Ape Face in your Ape Face. So, that's Ape Face. So there we go. Transformers War for Cybertron Siege Apeface with Transformers Titan Masters Apeface and a few kit bashes. If you like this video, please click the subscribe button, the notification bell, the thumbs up, all of that stuff. It really helps the channel, and we need all the help we can get. So, this is Clay Carlino from Retrobot. Don't forget to get your Retrobots spayed and neutered.